Now, we don't know all the information regarding the PlayStation 5, but one area that we know for sure that Sony is keying in on is the reduction of load times via the SSD that's going to be inside every PlayStation 5 when it launches in holiday 2020. But a new patent came out that Sony had filed that basically says that they are looking to actually get rid of load screens and loading altogether, and I thought this was pretty damn cool. What is going on, guys? Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another video. Hope everyone is having a great day, and if you don't mind, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button and maybe consider subscribing to the channel for more content. I greatly appreciate it. If you guys remember when Mark Cerny started talking about the PlayStation 5 in that Wired article back in April, he went into great detail about the SSD and how they were trying to reduce loading for next generation. And then more recently, Sony had an investors meeting where they showed off a video screen comparison between Spider-Man running on the PlayStation 4 Pro versus Spider-Man running on the next-gen systems, how the game world kind of streamed in so much faster and quicker on the PlayStation 5, and how loading times went from like 8 seconds to less than a single second. It really does seem like Sony is focusing on reducing and eliminating load screens completely, which if you've played Days Gone like I have, that would be a welcome thing. So what we have here, a patent that I will link in the description below so you guys can check it out yourselves. Basically, they're looking to reduce loading even further by patent technology that was filed all the way back in like 2012. So that's the thing about some of these patents, that a lot of these companies, they make up patents all the time, but they don't necessarily use them. They kind of hold on to them. Maybe the technology finally comes in where they can implement it. So this may or may not happen with the PlayStation 5. Maybe it's something that can happen with the PlayStation 6. But with how Sony's really keying in on reducing load times, I wouldn't be surprised if this actually becomes a thing. And how the technology works is by splitting environments into different segments that load independently and thus load more smoothly. If it works, there would be seamless transitions across the game, which would be very big for open world games, especially which tend to suffer from load screens and pauses. And I quote, "A system and method are disclosed for dynamically loading game software for smooth gameplay," reads the patent. "A load boundary associated with the game environment is identified. A position of a character in the game environment is then monitored. Instructions corresponding to a next game environment are loaded into memory when the character crosses the load boundary, such that the gameplay is not interrupted." Now, when we get into next gen, we're going to have worlds that are bigger, more detailed, have a lot more things into it that look better, and people kind of thought, you know what, load times are already kind of getting out of control for some things. Some games have an insanely long load time at the beginning, like something like Red Dead Redemption 2, and don't really have loading. They have seamless transitions between cutscene and gameplay, but if you do fast travel, there is some loading. Now, recently, a game that really kind of took me out of the experience because of all the loading was Days Gone, and I'm sure a lot of you out there have played it. Every single time you would get to where you were going and a cutscene needed to play, there'd be a small loading screen, play the cutscene, black screen loading back into the gameplay. If the PlayStation 5 can eliminate that for most games going forward, then the next generation is already a huge improvement. I know we're going to get, faster and more efficient CPUs and a better GPU and stuff, but the SSD, that might be the quote-unquote secret sauce. Being able to play a game, turning on your PlayStation 5, and having it on the dashboard within a single second, loading up the game and not having to wait for load screens would be amazing. Recently, I played Metro Exodus on my Xbox One X, and the load time to get into a first area of the game is something like 2.5 minutes. Sometimes you just don't want to even play a game because you know there's going to be load screens all over the place. Don't even take into account like stuff like Destiny 2 And those games were like you're sitting there forever for loading. So it is a big detriment to people. There's even been studies and reports that the loading turns people off to continuing games or keep on playing, or you know what, they sitting there, what should I play? And they're like, oh, I really want to play this game, but the load times are so long, and they don't actually end up playing anything. So this would be a real boon for us gamers out there, and maybe even game creators, as more people are, you know, more wanting to like basically play something through to the end and not have the load screens impact their enjoyment of said title. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this technology really come to fruition. And then I have to wonder, could this like really separate the PlayStation 5 from the Xbox Scarlett? I mean, we already have exclusive games and content and services for each that kind of separate each other. Scarlett's gonna have Halo and Gears, potentially a Fable. Obviously, the PlayStation 5 will have stuff like maybe a new Uncharted game, a new God of War, new Horizon Zero Dawn. You'll have PlayStation Now versus Xbox Game Pass, the ecosystem on one versus the ecosystem on the other. Price points, the powers, one could be more powerful than the other, or maybe they aren't. But if Sony had this patent where games actually load faster on the PlayStation 5 versus the Xbox Scarlett, that could be a huge win for PlayStation 5. Just take a website like Digital Foundry. You know, they always run and test each game on each platform to see what's the best experience for you to play it on. Is it the OG Xbox One or the PlayStation 4 or the PS4 Pro or the Xbox One X? They go into resolution, frame rate, frame pacing, all that stuff. Now imagine a situation where potentially the load times are like non-existent on the PlayStation 5 version of a game, but they are still there on the Xbox Scarlett version. That would put Sony in the winners category, of course, depending on, you know, frame rate. Maybe, you know, if the PlayStation 5 is not as powerful, the frame rate's not as good, so maybe the best place to play is still Xbox Scarlett. I'm just saying this could be something that Sony could really hang their hat on alongside all of the exclusive content that they have for their platform. But we do know that Xbox Scarlett has their own SSD that they're working on that's going to be in that system and that developers are using as virtual RAM. So maybe they'll have their own version of this and we'll just have a next generation of consoles with, you know, as minimal loading as possible, which sounds really good to me. And I would love to know what you guys think about all this. Are you excited about the possibility of load times being gone forever, or at least being hidden when you actually play the game? Maybe, you know, accepting that 10-second load at the beginning of the game and only seeing load screens when you fast travel. That really excites me, especially after playing some of these games this gen that have insanely long load times. Anyways, guys, that is the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. Consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Share this out on social media. Maybe tell a friend about the channel. I'd appreciate that as well. And if you want to be notified immediately when I upload every single video, make sure you hit that notification bell. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll see everybody in the next video. Later, guys.